Hello friends in YouTube world, it's me Philip Martinez and I am back with another fun video. So today it is something really special. So back on January 6th of this year, I talked about how it marked 10 years of me trying acting lessons for the first time. And I also mentioned that it was something that I didn't think I would continue on through many years as I've been doing it. Well, today of May 18th of this year, it will mark 10 years of the first ever play I ever done. And from that moment, it led me to enjoying it, it led me to loving it, then eventually become part of all of the shows I've done over the past few years of my life. So I thought it would be fun to take a trip down memory lane and just talk about and recap all of the shows I've been in. Think of it like one of those GQ videos where the actors are sitting and they're breaking down all of the movies they've been in. Except for me, that I'm not a celebrity and I don't have any fun stories with working with Keanu Reeves. But I still have fun stories to share and I can't wait to share them all with you. This will probably be a long video, so sit back, relax, grab some popcorn, maybe a nice little refresher, and let's get right into it. Fairy Tale Show. So this was a show that was written by the directors of this company that I first started, was at Still City Theater, and it was more sketch based more than storytelling. I pictured it like it was a kid friendly version of Saturday Night Live. The character I played was Hercules, and I remember being in this muscle suit that was super tight around the shoulders. Like, it was super hard for me to move my arms, but it was a lot of comfiness in it, like a lot of pillows inside. I only had 3 lines in that show, which I am very thankful for because I was so scared and terrified. I mean, this was my very first show and I had no idea what I was doing and what blocking was or which side to come out on. And thankfully, a lot of the people I've worked with behind the scenes, like a lot of the kids who did do this professionally, or not professionally, who did do this before and has been a modern student there, they were very helpful of like helping me with telling me where to go. And I had a scene partner, which was very easy, and we came out together, so I wasn't too nervous of going out there alone. And thankfully I did a good job on it. I remember picking up this dumbbell that was made of like tinfoil, and like giant tinfoil and a stick, and just like working it up, working my arms like I was super strong as Hercules. And that was a fun time, and I had so much fun doing that.
Anything. It ain't gonna be easy, kid. They call you minuscule for a reason. We're mostly tiny. Okay, kids, I'll do it. I like your attitude. I'm gonna bring in my best personal trainer. Hey, Hercules, get over here. Now I'm gonna oversee your training myself.
Yeah, boss, what's up?
You gotta get him into shape. Put him through the winter and all that.
You got it, boss. Come on, pathetic weakling. Let's do this.
The Diner Musical. So I should mention before, as the Fairy Tale Show, I did not audition for that. What they did was they put groups that were already taking classes at this company, and they just casted me, and I got to be with a group and just act with them. And that was similar to this. So every summer during Still City, or in Still City Theater every summer, we would have this thing called VIP camp, and it was a lot of like group activities, like purple group, blue, green, orange, and red, I remember. And purple and blue were always the younger kids, like 8 or 9, while the orange and red were more older, like teenagers at that point. And because I started when I was in middle school, I got to be in orange group and then work my way up in red group. Then at the end of the semester, we had a final show and we performed for our parents and our family and friends. And this leads up to this one. So it was called the Diner Musical. This one did have more of a story base to it, and it was a unique story. It was like a owner of a restaurant, and her restaurant was going to be closed down, and it was being sabotaged, and there was a lot of like different like school jocks. Like you got like the cool people, like the greasers with the leather jackets, the nerds, and the parents. And that was my character, not the parents, but I was a nerd, and it was our group was called the Brains. And we were the quote unquote super smart people in it, and we loved going to this diner, and we fought a lot of trying to save the diner from closing down. I have a lot of memories from that. I remember it was my first time doing a dance choreography, which was super hard, and I remember like it took like so many like tries to get every like beat and like every like step correctly. And we had to, if we messed up, we had to start again and do it multiple times. And I was the one that kept like messing up certain steps, and it was, I mean, I'm not a dancer at all right now, but it was being the first time doing that, it was super hard to do, but I'm surprised like I managed to get through that. It was like a jukebox musical too. Like it was, a lot of the songs were from the 1950s. We got like At the Hop, Rocking Around the Clock Tonight, Great Balls of Fire, Yakety Yak, and what another one? Why Do Fools Fall in Love? Like a lot of that songs that were very like not pop. I mean, they were popular, but it was a lot of the classics from the 50s, and it was fun doing that. I got to like sing with my group, and we got to like At the Hop was our song. We like ba 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 ba, and we had to. I remember like with the bas, we had to like go. One person does a ba and then the other, and then kind of like choreograph it and kind of like match it up, make it a melody, and we could not get it right, and it sounded really off. So we just had to like do the full ba 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 to make it like more melody and also more like put together and cleaned up. I remember at the end of the show, we had a full ending with all of the characters coming together, and Rocking Around the Clock Tonight was our last song, and we all sang and performed it, and I got to do another dance solo with that. I had to like get on my hands, and I remember I had to sit down on the floor and kick my feet up in the air and do all these crazy like dance moves, like move with my feet. And it was a lot of fun doing, and I had a great time like performing it, and my parents really loved that one, so I'm happy with how that turned out. Under the Big Top. So this was another show that I was put into with my class, and this was we had a story to it, but I don't remember that much of the plot. But like the main focus with it was a circus theme, and we had all these like acrobats and like different people. Like my character was a dog trainer, and we had like little kids play the dogs. It was honestly super cute. I originally started off that show with a short amount of lines, and the person that was supposed to be in it quit midway through. So the director just gave me all his lines, and I had like a lot of more lines to memorize. And I remember one of them being this big paragraph, and I was super nervous. I was super scared I would forget a line or mess up or stutter, which that sometimes happens if I get too nervous. So I I practiced a lot. I tried looking at a lot of techniques from like people that have done theater that are good with memorizing long lines, and I got through it. I was super happy with how like clean I said that, and I had a tiny solo break in one of the songs. It was called Rockstar, not by Nickelback, but that'd be pretty awesome if it was. But I remember this song very well, and I had a little tiny singing solo at that, and I got pretty good at that, and I nailed it, as you would say. I remember one thing with my costume. It was very like a sparkly blue jacket, and they painted like a little paw print on my face right here, and it kind of like, I don't know if that would like match the character or not, but I thought it was pretty cool, and I thought it looked really nice, and I felt very in character with that. It was a good time with that. Captain Bree and her lady pirates. So this was the first show that I actually did audition for, and I got to experience the audition process with this company. They made you like have the script ready, and you had to go in like with a four group people, and they would have you read off certain characters, and they would make you like sing the intro of the song too. I remember a lot, and we did do a lot. A practice choreographed dance and that, and I did great with the singing and acting, and the dancing not too much. Like I said, I'm not like the best like dancer in the world, but I can do it with a lot of practice. But I ended up getting in, and the character I played was the Swedish chef, and or Swedish cook as they call it. But Swedish chef I remember the most because it took me like from the Muppets. I remember for this character I had to do a Swedish accent, and they taught me a little bit of like what to sound like, and it was like, for example, one of my lines was, "I am the Swedish cook." Like, I am the Swedish cook.
And who are you? What did he say? He said,
And then the more I talked, the more like it sounded like Italian a little bit, but they didn't seem to mind. Like I still got a little bit of the accent down, and the one of the girls that was like mimicking me in character did it better than I could. The story with this one was these group of lady pirates come to the ship and kidnap all of the other pirates and take them for like for money and gold. We had a lot of choreograph, not just with dancing, but fight scenes too. I remember one being like everyone had swords, and I had a wooden spoon. I would fight with the pirates, and I would like you pretend my wooden spoon was a sword. It was so funny. There were a lot of dancing in it too. It was a lot of hard choreographed dancing that we did in the show, and I remember like being so tired at the end of a rehearsal from these dances, and I remember like all of the certain steps that we had to learn. I think oh one song I remember that was the easiest dance for me to do was Lady a Sensibility is what it's called. And the whole time we're just like this and we're like patting our heads or moving our heads like this, and then we would go around in circle and like pretend like we're ballerinas, and then just move our feet. And that was the easiest dance I remember, and I enjoyed that one the most. But the rest was a lot of fun. I remember a lot of laughs from that. With my wooden spoon, because I was fighting with it, I remember doing rehearsal with it with the pirates, and my spoon broke in half during one of the fight sequences. And it was the hardest I ever laughed, and the director laughed and the other castmates laughed. It was a fun blooper, and I wish that happened during the show, but I think I would have had a hard time staying in character if it did. Trouble with the In-Laws. So we're back with the VIP camp of that show, and it was my last time there because I was about to age out, so I'm glad I did. So this one was about a couple getting married, and we had these two family members, one like being very professional with like a suit and tie and very proper, and the other one is very more laid back and don't care about manners type of family, and it's trying to like make sure they like get together and like get along for the love interest in the show. The character I played was the best friend of the groom, and we were in this big group area, and I had a couple more lines in this, and it was like more familiar doing this company again. And I remember the song because it was another jukebox, so we had like a variety, like Black Eyed Peas, Madonna, I think The Lion King, Be Prepared was in it too, which is really funny. But we got to sing I've Got a Feeling by Black Eyed Peas in the show, and that was a lot of fun. I remember doing another dance choreograph, but this dance was more easier than last year's dance, and I remember I got more of a singing solo in this one. If you ever heard the song, it goes like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, like that. That was my whole line of the solo song I got, and I had so much fun doing it. And I remember having a lot of laughs backstage with the people during the show, and I remember the costume. It was very like normal, chill, like just khaki shorts and a polo. Like that was it I had to wear, and it was fun. I think I enjoyed Diner Musical a little more, but I still enjoyed this one too. Halloween Spooktacular. So this one was a fun show. This was a Halloween themed show, which was already happy with because Halloween is my second favorite holiday, and we got to have a very like unique theme. So this story was about three witches, and the three teenage witches, and they're trying to like create a spell for boys to like them. and my character in it was the hype man, which all I had to do was announce the mother witches, which they had their own hype man whenever they enter a room.
Ladies and gentlemen, singing sorcery sins in mine.
Brother.
The sincerely seductive supreme. Give it up for them.
And that was so cool. I got to yell as loud as the top of my lungs and got to quote unquote hype the audience up, and I got a lot of cheers from that. Like, oh, now entering the sincerely seductive supremes, and that was the name of the witches, and it was cool. And I got a lot of cheering from the audience, a lot of claps, like woo, and that was such a great time. The songs in this one were more 80s based, and we got variety. I started off with Michael Jackson's Beat It song, and then went into like the Time Warp, and the ending with Thriller. Like, that was the ending song, and it was awesome because I enjoy 80s music so much, and I remember getting like having so much fun, like learning the dance of like the songs we were gonna sing in it. And the song that I had another singing solo in was the Love Shack song, and I had the beginning song in the middle line of it. It was if you see a faded sign at the side of the road, that song, that part. And it was the other, the whole shack shimmies when everybody's moving around and around, and that part too. That was so cool. I love that song so much. So I was super happy I got to sing some parts in it, and we had a lot of choreographed dance in this one. Like, we had to do a lot. I think for the Love Shack dance was a lot of my favorite. I would say my least favorite dance I did it was when we did the Under Pressure song, because I remember a lot of it I had to go on my hands and knees for certain parts, and it was quite tiring, like getting up and down a lot, but I still managed to do it, and it was one of my favorite shows of Still City Theater. I think because it was Halloween themed.
All right, enough already. Magic potion, please, oh please, give everyone what will make them happy, even if it causes them money.
So after Spooktacular, I left Still City Theater and got into high school, which I was really excited that my high school had a theater program. It was TAA is what they call it. And I remember seeing a show in the fall, and I was blown away by the other actors in the show. And I immediately said, yes, I want to be in this production. And which leads me to show number 7. Footloose.
Footloose, footloose, kick off your Sunday shoes.
So these shows are more memorable to a lot of people, and everyone knows them if I just mention it. So Footloose was my first show I did in high school, my freshman year, and the character I played was Principal Harry Clark. And I remember a lot of the times in that one from like yelling at the main lead actor in like my principal voice. And if you don't know the story, it's about a town that is dancing is banned in that one, and the main character Ren McCoy, I think is his last name, is very is trying to get the people back to like changing their mind of like changing the law for bringing back dancing. But I remember a lot of the choreographed dance moves we did, the lines I said. It was cool. I got to have a lot of lines as the principal, and I didn't get a singing solo in this one, but I got to enjoy a lot of the songs I was in, and it was a lot of like some jukebox in there. Like I remember Denise Williams. Yeah, Denise Williams. Let's hear it for the boys in there. I was in that dance choreograph. It was like a cowboy like scene. So we had to dress up in like cowboy outfits and do these like type of like line dance choreo, and it was a fun time. I really got to have a good time enjoying the high school production a lot. And a lot of the people were extremely nice, and I loved working with a lot of the cast members, and the lead actor who played Ren was super nice, and everything was a lot of a fun time. Clue. So this was it was pretty interesting to bring this up because I recently just watched the Clue play up in Springs last month, and it was awesome to experience that. And I forgot I did this play, but I think one of the main reasons I forgot because my character only had one line, and I only scene I was in was at the very end of the show, and that's when I came out. And it was I mean, it might make me sound a little ungrateful, but I remember being a little disappointed that I only had one scene in this play because I wanted to, you know, I love inviting my family and friends to this, and I want them to like see me in certain parts in it, and it was a little discouraging, but at the same time I did have it easier with the rehearsal because I got to sit back and watch the other actors rehearse their scenes and with the director of the play. And then when it was time for my scene, I got backstage and said my one line, which I still remember. It was "All right, who done it?" And then everyone's like, "Oh, they're blaming each other," and then the show would end and we all take a bow. But it was still a good time. I just wish I could have done more in it, but I'm still grateful for being in it. Mamma Mia. This one got me into Mamma Mia, and Mamma Mia is still my favorite musical to this day. Oh my god, I had such a fun time doing this show. And it introduced me to ABBA, and I really enjoyed a lot of the music we did. And I had so much fun with like the background image and the how it looked like we were in Greece, and the costumes. Oh, the costumes were so much fun because I got to be in a Hawaiian short and a lot of like swimming trunks in certain scenes, like holding like a coconut cup and pretending to drink it, and it was that was such a great time. Also, like the songs I remember a lot, and like I had a lot of favorites in that song. One of them being "Honey Honey," "Lay All Your Love on Me," "Slipping Through My Fingers," and of course "Dancing Queen." There was a lot of like upbeat songs that everyone was singing, even if when we were not in rehearsal, because it was so that catchy in it. I remember the choreograph I did in that show was from "Does Your Mother Know?" And we had like these beach towels, and we had to like swing them up in the air and like do some like kick jumps with them, and like do a lot with like a towel dance moves, and it was a great time. And I think we had to lay on the floor, and a lot of the other like dancers jumped over us. It was that was an upbeat song, and I remember during "I Do Say I Do," that one, the wedding scene. Fun thing about that, our principal got to play the priest in that show, and when he came out, the audience, like the kids, were screaming, and like they were so cheery when when they saw our principal on stage. And It makes sense. I if I was in there, I would have probably cheered too. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what a cool cameo this is. It was like having Stan Lee in the Marvel movies. But that will go on forever of being my favorite show and being my favorite musical to like listen to this day. Rock of Ages. So this was more, as the name suggested, rock, very rock based in it, and a lot of the songs in this one were 80s rock music, which a lot of it was I got introduced to and I loved a lot. And one of them being like, come on, feel the noise, and just to be the next to be with you. And we built this city, a lot of those type of songs. The character I played in it was the mayor.
Mayor, your friend's boss is here. I hope you're coming.
Oh, yes, send her in.
Hi, Mayor. Thank you so much for meeting with me.
The pleasure's all mine, Mrs. Simon.
And I had like a funny experience of getting getting the role, because if you ever seen the movie, Bryan Cranston played the mayor in that show, and in that scene he got spanked by a ruler. So I thought, are we gonna go all the way with that, and like I'm gonna get spanked by a ruler on stage? But it was like the high school version and they cut that part out. So instead I was very business professional with a suit and tie, and I had most lines as the mayor in that show, and I got a lot of good like good like a little singing solo in that, because we built this city was our song as the mayor.
Mayor, take the money and rid this city now. Rid this city of rock and roll. Adina, you're fired. Rid this city of rock and roll.
And I got to act a lot from the song, and I got to sing a little in that, and I had a little again another choreographed dance where I moved my feet a lot, and I did like a conga line. It was a cool experience of like, especially like not my mayor outfit, and I had to like get in like a leather jacket and like sunglasses to fit like a rock star mode to it. It was pretty sad because we only performed that one time, because that was during COVID time where everything was getting shut down, and the high school canceled everything, like the games and practice clubs, and of course our play. And we sadly never got to perform that with for our parents, but I am still happy that we got to at least perform it for our classmates. Ranked.
Audience for the first time since last spring. And Newside's Natalie Chuck, she joins us live inside their auditorium. She had the chance to speak with a lot of the cast and crew about why this is so special, Natalie.
But yeah, they're actually doing mic checks right now in the auditorium, and there is clearly such a sense of gratitude in the air tonight.
So this was a newer musical that just freshly came out, like 2020, 2019. So it was all still pretty new to us, and from what I remember, like story-wise, this was like a young girl who was above the average, and it was like a high school girl and above the average of like SATs, and like everyone's trying to like pass their SATs so they can get in a good college, and it was a lot of pressure for these characters. I had two characters actually. It was named Josh and Adam. And Adam I remember the most because he had the most lines than Josh. And Adam was a very shy person and very, like, he can't stand up for himself, and he hates confrontation. So he lets these tutors who were pretty mean to him kind of push him around, and I got to play that very well as being a shy person, like in real life. So it was very easy to play that character, and a lot of the people I became friends with like so much, and remember this was my senior show, so it was my last show, and I got to end my last high school show with a full performance, and we all got in a group circle, and we all like talked about like our favorite moments of doing the high school production, and everyone was crying, and there was a lot of tears, and I got very teary eyed too. I think because I knew this was gonna be the last time I'll ever see any of these people, and you know, you never know when we're gonna meet up again. So it was a very emotional like last show for me, but I enjoyed a lot of the shows of my high school. I'm here. After I graduated high school, I got another opportunity to audition for another play that was from a completely different background. It was kind of cool because my mom found the audition on Facebook and encouraged me to audition for it, and I did, and it was a play that my professor that I'm really good friends with now, he wrote this, and he was looking for actors to be a part of it, and I wanted to take the opportunity and go for it. And it was more of a dramatic type of show, like no like comedy bits or no musical numbers. It was like just drama acting in it the whole time. The story of this one, it was this girl goes missing and the whole town is trying to find her, and along with that, the little brother of this girl has autism, and he has a certain language that he speaks. It was really cool because the professor who wrote it, it was based off his son who has autism, and even from his name in real life, his name is Reese, and we had Reese in the show, like the someone else playing Reese, and it was awesome. The characters I played, it were a lot. I was a barber. I was the dad of the missing girl. I was a gas station attendant, and I was a football jock, and I was a little bit of like a side part where like a guy was like trying to find something underwater and had a little scene at the end. And the gas station attendant, the lines were super like incredibly long to memorize. It was like full like long paragraphs of words I had to get down, and it was pretty difficult. Took a lot of practice to get every single word down, but I am impressed with myself because I managed to, before showtime, get through all of those lines, and it was 2 paragraphs. It was like the first long paragraph, the cop speaks, and then the second long paragraph, and then that was pretty much it. And I managed to get through it, and I said there was no comedic timing moments, but I had one moment that I made the audience laugh. It was like the line was, "Oh, is gonna be a cash prize for finding this girl?" The cop doesn't answer. I'm like, "Hello?" And then the cuts to black, and I got a few chuckles with that. I was at the first. I was an improvised too. I did it for the director, and he was laughing. Pretty good chuckle from him. So I said, okay, I'll keep it in there. I really enjoyed that. It was awesome to do more of a play type show because I've done, besides Clue, I've done more musical types where it was a lot of singing and dancing, and this one there was no singing and dancing in it, and I got to work as like a dramatic actor in it, and I had a fun time. A lot of the people that came, like my family and friends, they enjoyed the show, and I think my mom got really teary eyed at the end. But that was a long process of rehearsals because we started in October, then our original performance was going to be in May, and then we had to like keep rescheduling it for personal reasons of the cast members, and so we ended up performing in June. It was a full like 8 months of rehearsal, but we managed to get through it, and we did a great job, and the audience loved it. So after that show, I made a choice to take a break from the theater world because I was about to go into college, and I wanted to put my own time into that. And about like a couple of months, because I took a year off from doing theater, and a couple months in, I was really starting to miss it. I really was missing the experience of the rehearsal process and the costumes and the full show experience. And during July of 2023, I returned back to Still City Theater, and I became a camp counselor for the VIP camp, which was really awesome because I entered it as a student, and now I was like one of the helpers and the mentors and teachers for the kids in that VIP camp. But I think at the end of when they were doing their show, just seeing the kids up there performing and the audience loving it, it made me remember why I enjoyed it so much. And I really wanted to go back, and I said to myself after VIP camp ended, I was like, okay, any audition that comes up, I'm going to do it because I want to go back to theater. Which brings us to show number 13, White Christmas. If you thought Halloween was my second favorite holiday, my number one favorite holiday is Christmas. So just hearing the name White Christmas, I got excited to perform a Christmas show. And this, I didn't know at the time this was based off a movie. I think Bing Crosby was the star in it. And the character I played was Jimmy the nightclub owner.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry almost Christmas. And welcome back to The Room at Jimmy's, who is now very proud to introduce to you Betty and Joni.
Judy.
Betty and Judy, the Bain sisters.
Haynes.
What?
The Haynes sisters.
The Haim sisters. Hey, hey, hey! Let's hear it for the Hain sisters! I think these two are gonna go some places.
And I had a couple of lines in that one, and I got to wear a full suit and tie, and I got to announce to the people and bringing on the Hain sisters. Yeah, that's what their name. The Hain sisters, and clapping for them, like, woo, give it up for them. And the sisters did their song, and then I came back and was like, hey, let's hear it for the Hain sisters, woo! And I had a one line to the main actor, who was Phil Davis and George Wallace. Bob Wallace. So I had a little line talking to them, and then I went back and I had a little slow dance during that scene. It was like the best things, and one of the few choreographed dance I remember was the Blue Skies dance. I'm so glad we rehearsed it the first day of rehearsal, because that was hands down the hardest dance in that song or in that show, and it took a lot of like memorization of like what moves to get down, and it was a lot of fast upbeat type movement of like moving your feet and turning at the right time, and we had hats and umbrellas, so we had to do like a lot of these in the right moments. And during a couple months, we were starting to get it down, and some people were still having trouble, like me and my best friend, and it was a hard dance to do, but we got through it, like we always do from a lot of practicing, and I was very proud of myself for doing something that hard of like choreographed dancing. And I remember like since we had umbrellas, we had to like turn them and twist them and spin around in a circle, and it was a cool way to end Act 1 of that play. Another cool thing about that show was I got to meet my best friend. His name is Jackson, and we got along so great working together, and we met meeting in auditions, and we became great buddies and best friends and brothers to each other. And he has been amazing, and he is super talented, and we had the same passion of being actors, so that's something we related to during our rehearsal process, and that's something that I am very grateful for. Susico the musical. So I found this company. It's called the Pueblo Summer Musical, and they have done shows in the past at the Art Center in Pueblo, and during last year when before I did White Christmas, they did The Little Mermaid, and I was so blown away by how professional and beautiful that set was, and how amazing the actors were in it. And I asked about it because one of my other good friends, her name is Isabella, was in it, and I asked her about auditions, and she sent me the Instagram and Facebook of like, because that's where they post a lot of updates of auditions. So I followed them and I waited, and during February they did announce the next play they were doing, which was Susical. So I took the opportunity and I practiced a lot of auditioning and being a part of that production. No, it was really interesting because it was the most nervous I ever felt of auditioning for this company. I think one of the main reasons was because I didn't know any of like the director or the stage manager or the music director, and they didn't know me, and I had like a lot of pressure on myself to put on a good first impression for them, and let them know that I take this stuff seriously. And so it was a tough, not a tough, but like physical wise, but mentally it was a little more nerve-wracking. So I auditioned and I got a call back as the mayor of Whoville, and they wanted me to like read a couple of lines and sing a song that he sings, and I did pretty good. And he has a love interest. The mayor's wife is the character, so they teamed us up with different like people that would suit, and I didn't end up getting that character, but I did manage to get into that musical. And my character was a Who. I was more ensemble. I didn't have any lines in it. I was just in the background. But yet again, it didn't matter what character you were, because there was a lot to do for a lot of people in it. No matter if you were like the lead or a side character or ensemble, like everyone had certain parts in the show. And one of the parts for me and three other guys were these army people, and we got to go and stomp around it was like the general song that we that scene in, and the guy that played the general, his name's Lawrence, and he was super funny in it. I remember trying my hardest not to laugh during the show because he would like go up super close and like look us up and down like a very expressive type of general. So it was super hard like not to like break character. And Jackson was also in Little Mermaid at when I saw it, and he did audition for Seussical with me, and he played a bird named Vladikov, and he only had one line, but he was a very powerful line, and he nailed it so great. And he took the clover from Horton the elephant, and he was running around the theater and all over the stage, and all because the Who's were on this little clover. Everyone was like trying to like move around, like we were about to fall over, and that was my favorite scene. Honestly, was doing that because we really had to use our imagination for like our body language to like get that scene right. And also two of our friends named Leah and Desiree were also a part of that production, and they were not cast members but stage crew, but the director had them dress up like the Thing characters, Thing 1 and Thing 2. So it was really cool like having them in the Thing 1, Thing 2 shirts and then the blue furry wig. It was super like, and Leah was like carrying, because there was a scene where the Cat in the Hat had like a golf bag, and Leah as the Who gave the golf puck to the cat, and like he was hitting it, and it was cool. I had a fun time doing that show. I had a great time being like a part of this company. It was a lot. It was an everyday rehearsal, Monday through Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday off, and it was like the most work we did rehearsing, and I really loved it. It might sound weird to say, but I really loved how much work we did, because at the end of the day when it was time to perform, we knew we were 100% ready. Oh, and also Izzy also auditioned for that, and she got a good part as a jungle creature, and she was a tiger and she looked so cute in that. She did dancing a lot in high school, and so she got a lot of more choreographed dancing in this show, and she nailed it off the spot, like got every move down, and I'm super proud of her. White Christmas. Again. Yes, we did White Christmas a second time. How that came about, well, Jackson found another company that was doing the show, and we joked around a bit thinking how funny it would have been to do the show again, and I thought it would be a cool experience. And then he said he was gonna try out an audition, so I wanted to do it with him and do the show again. And this company was called MCP, and during the time they only did winter Christmas shows, and now they're changing it up. Now they're doing more like springtime shows, and hopefully they do summertime shows soon. If they don't and just do spring and winter, that's perfectly fine, as long as we have a good show. But we found White Christmas on Facebook, and we auditioned, and we got a part, and this time Jackson got the role as Jimmy the nightclub owner, and the character I played was a dance captain, and I had a couple of lines. It was like, all right, stop, and like 5, 6, 7, 8, and I had to like, be powerful with my voice, and like directing like the dancers, the character dancers in the show. And Jackson did a phenomenal job as Jimmy the nightclub owner, honestly even more than me, honestly. And that is where I met my second best friend and brother. His name is Ben, and he was the lead character of this show. He played Phil Davis in it, and he is super talented. He is a phenomenal singer. He is a great dancer and very great actor. And what I love about him is even though he was a lead, he never acted like it. Like he always treated the other people with respect and kindness, and he is super friendly to everyone. And my first time meeting him, he gave me a big hug, and I gave him a hug, and now me, Jackson, and Ben are three brothers, and we shared a really true friendship with this company. Roger and Hammerstein's Cinderella. So this was back at the summer musical the next year, and it was a very beautiful, gorgeous production that I've been in. Of course, everybody knows the story of Cinderella, so everyone knew what the story was going into it, and we all had great personas. Like the girl playing Cinderella was phenomenally talented. The guy who played the prince, he was a great actor, great singer. The evil stepmom and the stepsisters were very great at acting mean, but were the biggest sweethearts in the show. And of course the costumes. We had like very like fairy tale type costumes, and I remember one of them for me, it was during the ballroom scene. We had this like big suit, like a suit jacket and buttons, and we had to wear these like white tight leggings, which, not gonna lie, they were pretty uncomfortable to wear, and it was tough to get them on and move around in them. But after a couple of tries, I got used to them. In that show, I originally didn't have any lines. It wasn't until during Tech Week, there was a certain line that the director didn't cast, and he looked at me and asked me if I wanted to have a line in the show, and I jumped to the opportunity, and my one line was, and I screamed it as loud as I can with all my might in it, and I got a huge cheer as being in character from the other villagers, but also from the audience. That was so cool. The funniest parts I remember rehearsing, one of the memorable parts of the show was I tripped and fell during an entrance, and it was during our live show, and it was really bad, but I managed to get up and continue to be in character. But I remember taking off my costume, and I didn't know how bad the fall was until I saw like a big, huge bruise on my knee, and it made sense because it hurt to put on my shoes and socks. So and it was like full purple, and it was like, oh shoot, I fell harder than I meant to. One funny moment in the show, so Lawrence played Lord Pinkleton, and he had this bell that he rang, and it was during the song The Prince is Giving a Ball, and when he was shaking it, and the little thing in the bell broke off and flew right into the audience during mid-song. My goodness, it was the hardest. I tried not to laugh and break character. When I got backstage, I was on the floor laughing. I was in tears because like it was the funniest thing to experience, of like mid like ring, and the pop little thing like falls and lands on an audience member. It's a Wonderful Life. And we were back, me and Jackson, back at MCP doing It's a Wonderful Life, and great things about the company. Last year in White Christmas, they already announced the next show they were going to start doing, and so we had a lot of time to prepare and look over the movie and play and look at like the characters we want to audition for. And it was awesome because I got to experience the full audition process with this company. And how it worked was they have you go in the back room and they give you the script, and they have you like go through the characters you want to read for, and they line you up. They made you read through it, and during the audition process they made you act it out in front of the directors and the other people casting the show. And I got to read a lot of people. Some I was really satisfied of how I delivered it, others I wasn't. But I ended up getting a really great part, which was the mayor. Come to think of it, it was my second time playing the mayor. This and Rock of Ages. This was another time I got to have go back to having a singing solo for the beginning song. It was "You Are Now in Bedford Falls." Got to deliver that, and I had a lot of lines as the mayor talking to the main character George Bailey in it, and it was fun to like act with the main character, the main characters too, because he had his uncle there too, and it was a really great experience of challenging myself to see if I could take on of a bigger type role with a lot of lines. And I was really, really proud of myself at the end of the show. I was really happy of how not just my scenes, but how everyone's scenes in It's a Wonderful Life was. Jackson also got a good role too. His character was Tom, and Marty was his character, and he nailed him very well. And he had a line as Tom, like, "I'll take $242."
I'll take $242.
And he said it very angrily, and he was awesome in that. He was so like, productive of how he said that line. It was a lot of fun. It was cool doing White Christmas again, but It's a Wonderful Life was my favorite production from this company. And last but certainly not least, Into the Woods.
When first I appear, I seem mysterious, but when it's playing, I am nothing serious. Say that again.
Into the Woods was my college production. It was our first musical production that my college did. And again, I saw the paper. Actually, it was my friend Alex who introduced me to it. And I took the opportunity to sign up, and I got a great part. And my character in this one was the Mysterious Man. And honestly is hands down my favorite character I've ever played in that show. Into the Woods was my first time of playing a character that a lot of the audience would remember at the end, and it was so awesome. I remember getting the text from our director, Mrs. K, and she told me about wanting me to play the Mysterious Man, and so I googled what he looked like, and already from what his image looked like, I was so excited to play him. And I found the full play musical on YouTube, and so I watched that a lot, and I specifically saw the parts of the Mysterious Man so I could get his timing right and his voice right and how he moved and how he would deliver his lines. And I think by seeing how the original actor who played him, it was really helped me be more prepared in that show. So by the time we got to the table read, and I did my first line, which was "Hello, Jack." Oh my god! A lot of the cast members were laughing a lot, and I had a huge smile on my face, like, okay, I'm gonna have so much fun playing this character.
We disappoint, we disappear, we die, but we don't. We disappoint and turn I fear, forget the weak like father, like son.
I did what you call a little bit of method acting, not like playing him outside of rehearsal, but I grew out my facial hair because the mysterious man had a beard, so I grew out my beard for the show, and then I just put a little bit of makeup on it to darken it a little bit, and it was spot on. It was perfect, and it was one of the few times I didn't have to fully be like stage ready. Like I didn't have to do my hair. It was the first time I can get away with like looking messy, because that's what this character was. By the way, one advice I can give for future theater people, stretch and warm up before you perform, especially if you're not dancing. Because I was playing the mysterious man like this, like crouched down, and I was walking like this the whole time. It messed my back up, and I was like, my back was super sore after our last show, and thankfully it went away like two days later after a couple massages. But I know for now for sure I'm gonna start like stretching my body before any performance I do in the future. It's really cool looking back on all of these shows that I've done in the past year and talking about them again for the first time. It's awesome to like see my perspective and how far I've come of like my first show all the way to right now. And again, like I never thought of like I would be doing it this long when I started when I was 13 years old. And it is so cool how much I've improved and how much I'm getting better, of feeling more comfortable, of being on stage. And one of like my main reasons of doing theater in the first place is the audience. I know from an audience point of view of seeing a play, I have like this very happy feeling I get of when a show ends and we all, applaud. And I love giving that to the audience. And every person, not just my family and friends, but everyone that has came to support these shows has been phenomenal. And it has been such a cool, grateful, and great experience of doing theater, of just taking acting lessons and then going to do these plays. And I'm still not done. As I said, I'm posting this on May 18th, and the 18th of May is also our summer musical audition, and we're doing The Wizard of Oz this year. So by the time I upload this, I should either be done with my audition or I'll be getting ready for that. So, woo! Exciting! But thank you guys for listening to my stories. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, make sure to give it a like and subscribe to my channel right down below and hit the notification bell. That way you'll be notified whenever I post a new video. And please leave a comment if you've ever done theater or even what your favorite musical is, because I would love to read them. And with that being said, I will see you guys next time. Bye!